Good morning, testing, testing. Good, good.
Good morning, everybody. Gonna start us moving right along here with the live announcements because we have a fun-filled and action-packed day here today on the UU campus of Las Cruces. So first and foremost, our annual membership budget and business meeting is going to be happening today. Following the morning service, we're going to have Super Sunday in the RE Building Great Room. All are invited to share lunch together. We'll have several crock pots of soup, including a vegan alternative, plus beverages, bread, and desserts. Sign-ins for the annual budget and business meeting will begin at 11:30 in the foyer for those attending in person or on Zoom, which we'll be hosting for anyone who plans to attend remotely, our friends from there. The Zoom link meeting will be in an email or on the calendar or even on the website. You can find it. And all of that information. We also want to wish a very, very happy birthday to our church patriarch, Mr. Clayton Flowers, who will be 108 years old on December 25th. Church members are encouraged to send Clayton a card or a note. His address is 1038 Lowell Road, Las Cruces 88001. And we have a holiday book sale, which is pretty amazing. The library is sponsoring a bargain book sale, first 3 Sundays in December, including this Sunday, of course, next Sunday. For $1 or $2, you can obtain high-quality books to give as a gift to a loved one. Follow the Icelandic tradition of Yola Boka Flood. Yule Book Flood. I'm sure that was a terrible pronunciation, but we got to roll with it. When the books are given and enjoyed, along with chocolates, Elwyn's truffles, of course, are going to be available on the 17th. 16 of your favorite flavors. That's 4 more than last year. $4 for a package of 3, $20 for a bulk package of 18. So that's going to be going on. Be sure to get yourself some truffles because that man makes delicious truffles. Calling all bakers. The RE Kids need your help for their bake sale on December 6th, 17th. Also going on at the same time. Please deliver any of your favorite baked goods to the UUCLC library in the morning before the service at 10 a.m. This is important to deliver before the service because during the service they're going to be organizing them and putting them together. $5 a plate, yummy treats, all that good stuff, gluten-free or vegan options. Please label them so we can separate them if you're going to bring that in. And it helps out the RE program a great deal. And the proceeds are going to be going to Project Link, a program for homeless children and their families as designated by the LCPS. So it's for a great cause, so please help out if you can with that. Also today at the Tombaugh Gallery, we have a second show opening for the art of Kathy Baker and Vicky Morrow. That's going to be going on after our service, and it will be going on throughout Super Sunday and the congregational business meeting. And that was a mouthful of stuff. Please remember to set your mobile devices to worship mode because as we're going through, for some reason, half the people here have the Imperial March from Star Wars as a ringtone, and if that happens, you're going to get the stink eye. So, so make sure that is going on. And moving forward, we've successfully gotten through the announcements. The gathering song. Yeah, I guess we are going gathering song first. I'm going to. Good morning, everyone, yet again. And welcome to the home of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. We welcome those of you who are in the sanctuary this morning, especially the children and those who are visiting us via streaming technology. I love you people. I'm usually the person who's talking to you on the other end of the YouTube if you're there on our broadcast. My name's Mike Yatsko. I'm your service associate today. Our minister is Reverend Rod Thompson, who will be delivering the main portion of our program. Our director of music is Catherine Massey, joined by the UUCLC choir. Our director of religious education is Kelly Ingram, and assisting us today are Elwyn Nunn on the camera back there, as usual, and Claire Neal Wallace. She's back there doing double duty, covering for me, who usually runs the slideshow while I'm up here. So we have that going on. Our greeters today, we've got Susan West, Carol Stanfill, and Jane Ash, and the Board of Trustees is handling our hospitality. Unitarian Universalism has no creed or dogma. We are a covenant-based church, meaning that we agree to live in relationship with one another according to Unitarian Universalist principles and our congregation's covenant of right relations. We embrace diversity in all of its forms. Everyone is welcome, and you can learn more at uuchurchlc.org, our website. We appreciate it when you visit us there, too, as well as attending our services. If you're visiting, we'd like to meet you. If you're in the sanctuary, please rise and body your spirit and introduce yourself by telling your name and where you're from. I'll bring a mic over to you if we have any visitors in the sanctuary this morning. Anybody? Any visitors who would like to introduce themselves? Wow, that's a first. But hey, that's fine. We've got a lot to do today, so we'll move along and have a great time. Visitors who are joining us via YouTube cannot be recognized during the service, but you can usually chat with myself or Claire, and you can put your contact information in the comment section or visit our website and sign up through there to get more information about our lovely congregation here. But thank you again. We're pleased that you have joined us today for the service. If you are a visitor and you're a shy visitor, please fill out the visitor's card in the lobby or send us your email, and we'll invite you to any of our services, activities, and all of the cool things we have going on here. Please, of course, join us after the service, because not only are we going to have coffee and conversation outside and in the RE building, we're also going to have Super Sunday, so it's a lot of soup and fun stuff going on. So, with all of that being, as it were, let me get in to getting everyone warmed up this morning with a responsive reading. We're going to be doing number 621, Why Not a Star? The words will be up on the screen for you. Mine will be in red and yours will be in green. They told me that when Jesus was born, a star appeared in the heavens above the place where the young child lay.
When I was very young, I had no trouble believing wondrous things. I believed in the star.
It was a wonderful miracle, part of a long ago story, the foretelling of an uncommon life.
They told me a supernova appeared in the heavens in a dying burst of fire.
When I was older and believed in science and the reason, I believed the story of the star was explained.
But I found I was unwilling to give up the star, fitting symbol for the birth of one whose uncommon life has been long remembered.
The star explained became the star understood. For Jesus, for Buddha, for Zarathustra. Who knows what it may foretell?
Who knows what uncommon life may yet again unfold if we give it a chance.
Fantastic. Thank you all so very much. And now for our chalice lighting. Behold the symbol of our faith, fed by differing beliefs, merging together to become one fine flame, burning brightly in our beloved community.
These opening words were penned many years ago by my colleague Ellen Fay and adapted by me. It is the winter season of the year, dark and chilly. Perhaps it is a winter season in your life, dark and chilly there too. Come into the holidays here. Let the light and the warmth of these holidays brighten our lives and world. Let us find in the dark corners of our souls the light of hope, a vision of the extraordinary in the ordinary. Let us find rest in these quiet moments to find a promise and renewal. Let us find the child in each of us, the new hope, the new light born in us. Then will magic return to the world. So be it. I don't even know what goes next. Oh, I invite you to stand and join in reciting our covenant together and then singing the doxologies in English and in Spanish. Love is the doctrine of this church. Thanks.
Good morning, church. Good morning, Kelly. Today I will be reading Lights of Winter, Winter Celebrations Across the World. The story has been adapted a little bit, and please have patience with my pronouncing some words. Long, long ago, before people lived in nice warm houses with heaters and electric lights, the winter was a cold and scary time. The sun only came out a short time each day, and people rarely went outside after sunset. It was too dark. Some people thought the sun disappeared because it was angry with them. So they gathered and lit many fires and prayed for the sun to come back and warm them again. And it worked. Every spring, the sun came back to warm the earth. Since that time, people all around the world began to have festivals of light to remember that spring is coming. Zagnut is the oldest winter festival. The ancient people of Mesopotamia believed that they must make sunlight conquer darkness every winter. Yule. The darkest day of the year in the northern part of the world is winter solstice. Long ago in England, pagan people gathered in the woods on the night of the solstice. They brought a sacred log, a Yule log, to start a great fire. They sang and celebrated to wake up the sun so that its warm light would return to them. Saturnalia. In ancient Rome, there was a festival at the time of the winter solstice called Saturnalia. Friends gave one another candles, and there were gifts for every child. Soil. The Hopi natives of America have always celebrated winter solstice. They call it soil. For 20 days in the kivas, or underground rooms, Hopi priests would pray in the firelight for the sun to return. Ting Chi. Every winter for over 2,000 years, Chinese people have celebrated the beginning of the new year. This holiday lasts 15 days, and the very last day is the Feast of Lanterns. Hanukkah. Over 2,000 years ago, Jewish people began celebrating Hanukkah. Every December for 8 days, they honor the time they fought for the temple and won. After the battle, there wasn't enough oil to light the temple lights, the temple lamps. But a miracle made the oil last for 8 days. Now Jewish people around the world celebrate Hanukkah by giving gifts, sharing food, and lighting one candle on the menorah each night. Diwali. In the country of India, every year there is a festival of lights called Diwali. Schools are closed and children can make lanterns called deepas. Christmas. About 1,600 years ago in Europe, Emperor Constantine changed winter solstice holidays to the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. Now on December 25th, schools close, people visit family and friends, exchange gifts, trees are decorated with lights and ornaments. Christian people give thanks for the arrival of baby Jesus. Las Posadas. In Mexico, there is a Christmas tradition called Las Posadas. For 8 nights, people walk from house to house in a parade, like Mary and Joseph did, traveling to Bethlehem. Kwanzaa, a very old African harvest celebration, has become the holiday for African Americans. Families and friends share gifts, good food, good music, and stories. The candle lighting ceremony begins on December 26th. Each day until January 1st, a candle is lit. Chalaka. In 2005, what? Chalaka, like a chalice, of course. Okay. Chalaka. In 2005, youth and youth ministry created Chalaka with good intentions for a new winter holiday, celebrating Unitarian Universalist principles. On each of the 7 nights, a different UU principle is honored and read out loud. A chalice is ignited, and ways of living the principle are enacted. Whatever your tradition, when the world gets dark and cold in winter, it can be fun to light candles, share food, give gifts, and spend time with family and friends. It is fun to celebrate the light in the world, however you see it. Thank you.
The operation and outreach of our church needs your input and contributions. This is the perfect time to think about what you can give back. We also support organizations identified by the Social Justice Committee within our Change for Change program. This quarter's recipient for the Change for Change donations is the Mesilla Valley Hospice. You can give to them by putting your change in the basket or by writing Change for Change on the note line of your check. Please give generously.
Three wise men riding hard through the cold, lost on some big city street with no place warm to go. They are looking for a manger or a sign in the lights, but they're a long way from Bethlehem tonight. But they heard about a Savior and a preacher in the park who will camp with the homeless where they shiver in the dark. He'll deliver salvation to the weary and the cold, and he'll bring joy, joy, joy to the wandering soul. The cleaning lady sighs as she closes up the gate. This job don't quite pay the bills, and she's always working late. But all in a moment comes a light from above. It's an angel speaking words of joy and love. And he tells her of a Savior and a preacher in the park who will camp with the homeless where they shiver in the dark. He'll deliver salvation to the weary and the cold, and he'll bring joy, joy, joy to the wandering soul. 4 in the morning at the Tradewinds Motel, the register reads all full up and the clerk thinks just as well. But out in the tool shed by an old Coleman lamp, a little family makes its meager camp. And the wise men bring presents and the angels gather round. The cleaning lady slips in through the door without a sound, and an old black dog looks on with the rest at the little babe upon his mother's breast. And there comes a Savior and a preacher in the park who will camp with the homeless where they shiver in the dark. He'll deliver salvation to the weary and the cold, and he'll bring joy, joy, joy to the wandering soul. And he'll bring joy, joy, joy to the wandering soul.
I guess that means I'm next, huh? Well, Kelly covered the whole thing. So, well, anyway, yes, that's the way life works sometimes. Okay. In most of the rest of the churches in Las Cruces, this is not a sermon you would likely hear, or the question they might ask. But here today, I'm asking it, celebrating the holidays, but which one? This is a sermon in 5 parts, well, 6, because Kelly did the other part. Each begins with an apologue, which is defined as a formal defense or justification, followed by a song. First apologue, celebrating the holidays, Christmas. You know the story of Christmas, the baby born in the stable because there was no room in the inn, shepherds who heard angels singing of peace on earth, goodwill to all, who then visited the new baby and his family. Magi, who saw a new star that foretold of a royal birth in Israel, who made the perilous journey to see the baby, bringing him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and all the rest of it. For many, the manger scene or the creche, which Diane was willing to entrust me with to put on our table. For those who see that as the preferred Christmas symbol, so we've placed it on the table. But there are others who think of the tree, the one out in, well, not that one, but anyone out in the lobby, instead of others as the symbol of Christmas. If it were a live tree, I could have used it as a symbol of solstice, or I could have called it a Hanukkah bush. There's a story about that. I don't know if anybody knows that other than me. Or it could have been made as a symbol for Kwanzaa. But right now it is a Christmas tree. The Christmas story is a story of miracles, of angels and prophetic dreams. It's a story of moving stars, of mysterious strangers with symbolic gifts. It's a story of lights, lots of lights, heavenly glow, stable lamps, and candles. Always candles. So what is there for some of us to celebrate who no longer believe literally in miracles and the supernatural, or virgin births, or the divinity of Jesus? What is there for us to celebrate? Well, we could certainly celebrate the birth of a baby. We could celebrate the birth of all babies. We could celebrate the rebirth of love. We could celebrate that good things can come in small packages, or borrowing from Hallmark, that God cared enough to send his very best. Or we could celebrate and join in the call for peace on earth. We could celebrate the coming of light into the darkness. We could celebrate that in the current culture of me first, I'm number one. Instead, we could remember that this story is an example of humility. And we could celebrate that in the midst of despair, in subjugation, oppression, there is hope. And I think that means
I invite you to sing with us, Let Christmas Come. Remain seated.
I can.
Let Christmas come, its glory told.
Second epilogue. Celebrating the holidays, Hanukkah. I'm sure you know the story. You've already heard it once this morning. And about 2,150 years ago, Palestine was under the rule of the Syrian Empire. Judah the Maccabee led a revolt against the Syrians. He had a small band of followers which could obviously not confront the mighty Syrian military in conventional warfare, so they used the unusual tactic of guerrilla warfare and were successful. It was largely a fight for religious freedom. The temples of the Hebrew people had been desecrated. They had been forced to worship Greek gods, to sacrifice what was to them the most unclean of animals, while being forbidden to practice any of their own religious traditions. When Judah defeated the Syrians and re-entered Jerusalem, he ordered the temple to be cleansed and rededicated. This involved rekindling the eternal flame. Sacred oil had to be prepared as fuel for the flame, but it would take 8 days to prepare the oil. According to the tradition, a small amount of sacred oil sufficient for 1 day was found hidden in the temple. So the lamp was kindled anyway, and miraculously it continued to burn for 8 days, long enough for a new supply to be prepared. So it is that Hanukkah candles are kindled and additional candles are lit each night for 8 nights. We have a lovely menorah with wonderful candles. Our Jewish neighbors started celebrating Hanukkah on December 7th. That will run for 8 days. And the page won't turn. Like Christmas, Hanukkah is a festival of lights. Like Christmas, it is an historic festival, even older than Christmas. Like Christmas, the story has a combination of fact and myth. It is a festival celebrated in the Jewish home, so the emphasis is on family and community. And it too is a story of miracles. So what is there for us to celebrate, we who no longer believe in miracles and the supernatural, or believe in all the stories that are known to us as the Old Testament? We could celebrate the triumph of light over darkness. The 8 candles could remind us of the place of joy in our lives, the importance of wisdom and understanding, the power of moral action, the nobility of courage, the dream of freedom, the strength of faith, the vision of hope, and the ultimate value of love. And we could also celebrate that in the midst of despair, subjugation, and oppression, there is hope.
Rock of Ages, let our song please remain seated.
Apologue 3, celebrating the holidays, Solstice. You know the traditional story of Solstice, not necessarily what we've already heard about or what will be celebrated at the Yule service on the 21st. But the simplified version is our ancient forebears depended on the sun for warmth and light and for the food that grew in the warm sunlight. When in the late autumn the sun began to wane, the people were afraid, for the sun seemed to become weak and abandoning them. As the days grew shorter and the nights longer, of course, the further north you are, you know what that means. As the days grew shorter and the night longer, fear grew that the sun would disappear altogether, and their world would get colder and colder. For us in the northern hemisphere, the night of the winter solstice is the longest night of the year. On that night, our ancients lit candles and lamps and fires like the Yule log. Well, half of a Yule log with the candles. Where was I? I'm here. Everything was lighted with the idea to push away the darkness, and in the hope that the sun would be encouraged to return so that spring could come along with its light and warmth. With faith and hope that the sun would return, he'd already retired. They were sure that their prayers and their offerings would be answered, so they began to celebrate. The names of the solstice celebrations differ. The rituals they practice differ depending on the location, but you'll find them all around the world. They are both ancient and modern. Like Christmas and Hanukkah, solstice is a festival of lights. Fire and candlelight with the Yule log symbolize the solstice celebration. Like Christmas and Hanukkah, solstice is an historic festival, older than both Hanukkah and Christmas. Likewise, the stories are a combination of fact and myth, with an emphasis on both the family and the community. And it is a story of miracles. What is there for us to celebrate then? We who no longer believe in miracles and the supernatural, we who no longer, that we already know the cycles of the seasons. We who know that spring will come eventually. What is there for us to celebrate? We could celebrate nature and our interconnections with nature. That even with all of our technology, we can't control nature. Yet, we still know that our bodies are in sync with the rhythms of nature. We could rejoice in the preparations of the earth by the sun for the beginning of new life. We could again celebrate the triumph of light over darkness. We could also celebrate that in the midst of darkness, cold, discomfort, and despair, there is hope.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit to sing Deck the Hall.
The fourth apologue, celebrating the holidays, Kwanzaa. You may not know all of the story of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is an African American celebration observed during the 7-day period from December 26th through January 1st. It was created in 1966, but Kwanzaa is loosely based on the harvest festivals traditionally practiced throughout Africa. Kwanzaa brings families and communities together to celebrate the fruits of the year's labors, to give thanks, to evaluate their achievements and contributions to the family and their community, and to make plans and goals for the new year. Kwanzaa is an affirmation, a way of saying, yes, African American people are people of history, of the present and the future. I believe, rightly or not, Kwanzaa was conceived as a motivation for African American people. Kwanzaa is both a celebration and a process for guiding participants to higher performance and achievement standards. And it is a way to help Euro-Americans and Asian Americans and Americans of every cultural background to see that African Americans as people with assets and deficits, achievements and failures, just like all the rest of us. A people sometimes crying what Langston Hughes calls the weary blues, yet also singing with James Weldon Johnson, lift every voice and sing a song full of hope that the present has brought us. Like Christmas, Hanukkah, and Solstice, Kwanzaa is also a festival of lights. 7 candles, 3 red, 3 green, and 1 black. 1 for each of the 7 Kwanzaa principles. Like Christmas and Hanukkah and Solstice, Kwanzaa is an historic festival, though with modern origins. The stories that teach the 7 principles are, like the stories of the others, is a combination of fact and myth. And Kwanzaa is also emphasizing the family and the community. Like Solstice, Kwanzaa emphasizes our connection with nature, but it is certainly not a story of miracles. What is there for us to celebrate, those of us who are not African Americans? We could celebrate the coming together of families and communities to give thanks, to evaluate our achievements, to make plans for the year ahead. Something good for all of us to do. And once again, we could celebrate the triumph of light over darkness. We could celebrate nature and our interconnections to nature. We could also celebrate that in the midst of despair and oppression, that in community and working together, there is hope. Now,
I invite you to rise and body your spirit to sing together when all the peoples of this earth.
celebrating the holidays, but which one? What is there for us to celebrate who no longer believe literally in miracles and the supernatural, or the virgin birth, or the divinity of Jesus? What is there for us to celebrate, we who no longer believe literally in the stories that are found for us in the Old Testament? What is there for us to celebrate, we who know about the cycles of the seasons, and know that spring will eventually come? What is there for us to celebrate, those of us who are not African Americans? What is there for us to celebrate? Well, if it is your tradition, or if you would like it to be, you could celebrate the birth of a baby, the birth of all babies, the rebirth of love. If it is your tradition, or you would like it to be, you could celebrate the triumph of light over darkness. If it is your tradition, or you would like it to be, you could celebrate nature and our interconnections with nature. We could rejoice in the preparation of the earth by the sun for the beginning of new life. If it is your tradition, or if you would like it to be, you could celebrate the coming together of families and communities to give thanks, to evaluate, and to make plans. We could celebrate any of these or all of them. For me, the deepest meaning and the strongest message in all four of these traditions is in the declaration of the rebirth of hope. Set at the darkest time of the year, for us anyway, in the Northern Hemisphere, the time when days are shortest, each of these ways celebrates the season. Celebrating the season is an annual reminder that days will become longer, that warmth and growth will give us a metaphor for anticipating with hope the cycles of life. They all seem to say that darkness, despair, and death in our lives will give way to light and life and rebirth. These celebrations permit us to bring forth the child in all of us through songs and decorations and bright colors and candles, especially candles. We express our belief in the joy and the unity of all of life. So let the celebrations begin. Let the celebrations continue. I think we get to do something else.
What's a gathering without a little bit of music? So this is not a traditional wintertime piece, but Mike was kind enough to get the lyrics ready for us up on the screens. So if you feel so inclined, by all means, please join in.
No snowflakes flutter down tonight, but the sky is clear, the stars are bright, and frost has put lace dresses on the needles of each pine. And one worn jacket's warm enough to safely temper winter's touch and turn its bite to tingles on your fingertips beginnings and years end, when darkness like a dream and like a mystery descends, in gifts of rest and quietness and holy nights and days. While winter's dark lets winter stars light a pilgrim way. The fallow fields lie bright and chill, and all the country roads are stilled, as sleep looks out from window panes and sits on window sills. The slumber's deeper cousin roams and safely makes his presence known, and peace him nature's sleeping brings, its peace to me also. This is winter deep, midwinter, like beginning and year's end, when darkness like a dream and like a mystery descends, in gifts of rest and quietness, of holy nights and days. While winter's dark lets winter stars light a pilgrim way. The doe in white and dappled brown upon her thatch has bedded down, and gophers 'neath the hedgerows now have roundly gone to drown. And might I walk a while yet to think on life and think on rest, and watch the shining nebulae released with every breath. This is winter deep, midwinter, like beginning and year's end, when darkness like a dream and like a mystery descends, in gifts of rest and quietness, of holy nights and days. While winter's dark lets winter stars light a pilgrim way. While winter's dark lets winter stars light a pilgrim way.
All right, we have foregone closing words today. And before we extinguish the flame, I want to give a big thank you to Old Time Pharmaceuticals, Spencer, Abby, and Pat for being with us. Thank you very much to Catherine Massey and the UUCLC Choir for their contributions this Sunday and all the other Sundays. And thank you all for tolerating my inaugural experience as service associate. And thank you to Claire and Elwin up there for doing a heck of a job without me up there to help too. So thank you all, and let's extinguish this flame and get everybody some soup. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.